Joined now by our Patriots insider Jeff Howe from The Athletic Boston, and this is just as they scripted it up. 11-5, they've got a bye, they got a week off, and let's see who they play in 2 weeks from now.
Write it in stone every single season that Tom Brady's around. So you knew that this was basically how it was going to shake out, or that's what the intention was going to be, especially of late. You know, you had that blip a few weeks back at the start of December. You throw up on yourself, I guess, in the final seconds in Miami, and then you couldn't really get yourself out of it in Pittsburgh, but you took care of business in the last 2 weeks of the season. And yeah, the quality of the last two opponents isn't great, but, you know, just looking at those games going into them, Josh Allen was kind of the toast of the league with how he was able to run around and all this other stuff, and Sam Darnold is getting a lot of recognition. And the Patriots shut both of those guys down, and they did it in ways that, you know, earlier in the season, they were struggling. They're stopping the run, they're containing the quarterbacks a lot better, and the secondary is covering a whole lot better. So, again, I like the growth that we're seeing.
I would figure one of your top stars from Sunday's game is Trey Flowers. I mean, here's a guy who has figured it out. He's not figuring it out anymore, but making an impact now. And building on what you were just saying, you're going to need those guys from the edge in the playoffs to not only provide containment, but bring the pressure on a quarterback who's trying to lead an offense.
Trey Flowers is awesome. I mean, he is truly one of the best defensive players I've covered in the 10 years around this team. His consistency, the way that he just continuously blows up plays. I mean, 7.5 sacks, that's the reason why he's not in the Pro Bowl. Entering the day, he ranked 43rd in the league in sacks. But he's hit the quarterback entering the day 22 times, pressured him another 26 or so times. He's always in the backfield. He stops the run. He can play inside. He can play outside. He is as versatile as any defensive lineman that I can remember under Belichick, or at least since Seymour. And he is, the pass rush has been pretty good by and large this season. The only times it's really struggled were the 2 games that he missed with the concussion, or all but almost 2 games. And then one, blip in the radar mid-season. But the last 8 games he's been a superstar player.
Now, you glanced over it, and I understand the quality of opponent. You know, the Bills come to town, the Jets come to town. For me, to use a baseball analogy, it's almost like getting batting practice and trying to get some good swings in there and sort of get back in the rhythm. I feel that's what they did. You know, the Bills game, they get their running game in rhythm. This game, they get their passing game in rhythm. You look at Tom Brady's stats, 2017 to 2018, they're not that far off. It just goes to show how every year is a little bit different. How do you feel generally? This is a very long question. How do you feel generally about the team and where they're positioned as this postseason begins?
I mean, it's the best I think you could have expected going into these last 2 weeks. And yeah, I mean, you're not going to come out of this and say, oh my goodness, they just took out 2 heavyweights. But look, this was a team that it was hard to get a good read on from week to week. And they came out and they handled or met expectations. So that's a step in the right direction. You look at Brady, I mean, yeah, the knee's a little banged up. It's not really as much of an injury as it is an inconvenience. But some of the throws that he was making in the first half, this isn't just like a 1-week thing. I mean, last week against Buffalo was a tougher day. Still made some nice throws, but the Miami game, he made a ton of great throws in the first half. The Pittsburgh game, the final drive, I know they lost, but that throw to Edelman down the middle, tremendous throw. This is a guy who is physically capable of going out there and making every throw. The zip was good today, and as long as he is playing at the level that he played today, I mean, this team can beat anybody, especially if they get these games at Gillette Stadium.
Okay, who don't we want to see?
Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That's not the team. They're hot. They've been playing well. They got the defense. They're not going to be fazed by this whole thing.
Right. Yeah. You know what? Take the history out of it, and we know what the history is. That's a team that is fearless generally, and similar cast of characters on that roster, but they run the ball great. Lamar Jackson is freakishly fast. So they're able to stay in games by controlling tempo. Their defense is good enough that they don't really have to worry about falling off schedule. You know, they're not going to really generally give up a 14-3 lead or anything like that and force Jackson to have to throw the thing all over the yard. If that happens, then, the Ravens are going to be in trouble. But again, they complement each other so well. But look, the Patriots allowed about 3.5 yards a carry, take out the Darnold scramble against the Jets. They allowed 4 yards a carry last week against the Bills. So the run defense is playing better. And, we'll see what their defense really is in January.
It's going to be fun. Jeff Howe, The Athletic Boston, our Patriots insider. The Patriots, save for that one play in Miami, would have been 12-4 again.
Yeah.
Just like you draw it up every year. Thanks.
Yep.